The nipper job. Welcome to Australian Mining for New Starters. I've been asked to do a video on could you please do a video explaining what the nipper does and what they would do on their first day. So if we go over to the sponsor's website and we load up the nipper and other important duties course, you can expand it. You can expand it like that. It goes through the different topics of everything that you might be expected to do as a nipper. Now, it should be noted at this point that there's no standard one job that every nipper does. So it's normally a mixture of jobs that they do, and it differs greatly from mine site to mine site. So what you might be asked to do as a nipper on one mine site might be different than the other mine site. So you might be asked to do all these things, or you might be asked to do 3 or 4 of these things, and somebody else will do something else. It just depends on what they want you to do and how big the mine is. So the big one is getting the crew to and from work, and that means dropping them off in the morning, picking them up at the end of the shift. That also means probably helping organise firing time with the shot fire on the crew, just to make sure everybody gets picked up. Some mines make the nipper take the crew's crib to work. Other mines get everybody to take their own crib to work. It just depends on what's going on. Rigging up and down a jumbo. If you're working for an owner-operator, this might not be very important, but if you're working for the contractor where the contractor's getting paid for all the meterage development that the jumbo makes, they want a nipper behind the jumbo so the jumbo operator's not having to hang their own cable and rig themselves up. They want the nipper there to do all that. Throwing bolts, again, if you're working for one of the contractors, that'll be a big part of the nipper's job, and that's all about speeding up the jumbo operator. And last of all is setting up headings, and that's probably the biggest thing that you have to do as a nipper, is keep ahead of the jumbos and make sure all the supplies for the ground support's going to be there. Now when you get there, the other thing too, is that you will probably have to do watering down, and you go into that into great detail in this area of the course as well. Now the other thing, when you start on your first day, then you'll probably get put with the old nipper, and it'll be their job to help train you up in the first couple of weeks that you're on site and to go from there. Now, what happens is that these jobs are very straightforward. There's not a lot to them. There's a bit of physical work with them. But where people get into trouble is you've got to understand how the mine works so you can be ahead of the jumbo in setting up headings. So you know when the jumbo's going to move, so you can be there ready to help unrig and rig them up again. And so you're right there on time. If you miss the jumbo and the jumbo operator has to do it themselves, then that can add an extra 20 or 30 minutes to their day. And all the jumbo operator and the shift boss and the foreman are looking at is that's 30 minutes of the day that they weren't boring or bolting or whatever else that they should have been doing. And that's why the nippers are there with the contractors, is to help everything going. So you really need a good idea of how the mine works. And so you can go over to the sponsor's first course, the basic mine site operation, and understanding all this and how it all goes is really important for you as a nipper to be able to be ahead of the game and make sure that you stay on top of it. And that's one of the biggest problems that people have with nippering, is that they can't stay ahead of it. It engulfs them. It becomes too complicated for them, and way too much pressure trying to get everything done in the day. And traditionally, when I first started, the nipper was the lowest job, and it was trial by fire, sink or swim. You either made it or you didn't. Now that they've turned truck driving into the entry-level option, then people have to go through nippering. Some still start as a nipper straight away as a new starter, but lots of companies get people to start off as truck drivers, and then they get them to go through the nipper onto service crew that way. General good rule of thumb is if you can't hack it as a nipper, then you're really going to struggle doing the top-tier jobs like the frontline jumbo operator job, the charge up role, and the frontline bogger operators jobs. If you can't get your head around nippering and being able to get on top of that, then you'll really struggle with those top jobs as well. So I hope you found that information helpful. If you can share the video around and like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks.